So this week, Kevin Feige did an interview with Entertainment Weekly where he talked a lot of MCU stuff. Phase 4, Phase 5, even a little bit of Phase 6 in there. If you guys haven't checked it out, Entertainment Weekly, definitely check out the interview. It's full of great stuff. But one thing in particular that stuck out to me was this exchange he had with the interviewer about the Marvel Cinematic Universe shows that we're getting on Disney Plus, and talking about how we're not going to see as many of them in the near future. Here's what he had to say. Feige, SNL did a skit this week. Did you see it? The one about how many shows there are right now? Interviewer, yes. Feige, I do think one of the most powerful aspects of being at Marvel Studios is having these films and shows hit the zeitgeist. It's harder to hit the zeitgeist when there's so much product out there and so much content, as they say, which is a word that I hate. But we want Marvel Studios and the MCU projects to really stand out and stand above. So people will see that as we get further into Phase 5 and 6. The pace at which we're putting out the Disney Plus shows will change so they can each get a chance to shine. Interviewer, so when you say the pace will change, do you mean spacing them out or putting out fewer shows a year? Feige, both, I think. Just one more time. The pace at which we're putting out the Disney Plus shows will change so they can each get a chance to shine. And the interviewer says, so when you say the pace will change, do you mean spacing them out or putting out fewer shows? And Feige says, both, I think. All right. Two things with this. First of all, I didn't mind the Disney Plus shows at all. Aside from She-Hulk, I liked them all. I thought some were better than others for sure, but I enjoyed them. I think the biggest problem with the Marvel shows was two things, and they weren't exactly Kevin Feige's fault. The first being the pandemic. The pandemic hit. Production shut down, things got all screwy and messed up. It ended up being that all of the shows kind of came out in a line. It was just like boom, 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 boom. Like every month we had a Disney Plus Marvel show to watch. The second part to that is Bob Iger was not the CEO of Disney. Bob Chapek was the CEO of Disney. And for those of you who weren't paying attention or keeping up with that kind of stuff, Bob Iger, when he ran Disney, it was creatives first. The creatives had all the control. They talked about what they had control of where movies went, if it was Disney Plus, if it was theaters, if it was a TV show, if it was a movie. When Bob Iger left, Bob Chapek came in, smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. I think it was 2020, and basically changed the entire structure to where he put businessmen in barriers of the creators and himself. So Kevin Feige then had three set of people basically that he had to go through before he could even talk to Bob Chapek. And those businessmen now controlled what went to movies and what went to TV, and also dictated how much content they needed to fulfill for Disney Plus, for the theaters. And I think that's one of the reasons why we were so abundantly just given all this Marvel TV shows all at once. Now, I can't say for sure that's what it is. That's mostly my speculation based on information I have, but I do think that plays a factor into this.
Mm-hmm.
It's also clear, or it's also important to point out that he doesn't say the shows are done. He doesn't say they're not doing any more shows. He just says they're going to do fewer and more spaced out. So I know a lot of people, especially in life that I've talked to, a big reason why Marvel isn't really working for them as much as it had before is because there's so much, is because they don't watch all the TV shows, is because they're worried about getting confused and left behind, which I totally understand. And I kind of figured that was going to be the case once they announced TV shows. Mm-hmm. But with this being fewer TV shows, this kind of gives me a breath of relief, to be honest. Because even I, who eats this MCU stuff up, the MCU is like my bread and butter. I love it. Man, was I starting to get burned out on TV shows last year. I mean, by the time we got to She-Hulk, I was pretty much like, okay, another Marvel show. Here we go. Another week of catching up. Oh, Daredevil's in this one. I better watch that because it's gonna be a Daredevil show, and I need to know what's going on. It was getting to be a lot, and also this spread Kevin Feige really thin, because not only was he dealing with all these movies that he was trying to produce and keep control of, he was also overlooking like 50,000 TV shows that were going on at the same time.
He's a busy man.
And I think he was a very busy man. And I think that wear in him, maybe a little bit of exhaustion, started to show in the product.
I mean, can you blame him?
Exactly, right?
He's only a human being after all. I mean, I know we like look at him and we think he's like this almighty person because he's bringing us all of our favorite superheroes together, and he was the
Yeah.
mastermind behind all of that. But he is only human, like all of us are. But let me start by saying also that Zach was building up She-Hulk to me so much last year. And he's like, "Oh man, you don't understand. She-Hulk is gonna be great." And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I'm
the,
excited." And then
the trailer looked good, okay? I don't care. I like the trailer, and I like the first 3 episodes. I'm not gonna
oh yeah,
I'm not gonna change history for myself. When that first
no,
episode hit, I was like, this is the show. It's gonna be number one. It's gonna be my favorite. And then I
and
don't
I'm
know
not
what
saying it's
happened.
all bad. And then
Yeah.
she started twerking with Megan Thee Stallion, and I'm like, oh, he can't really defend this, can he? And sure
Yeah.
enough, here he is eating his words and all that, and I'm never gonna let him live that down. But
Yeah.
anyway, I agree with you. MCU is probably my favorite movie franchise of all time, right next to Harry Potter, if I'm being honest, just based off of nostalgia. But even I was getting very, like, okay, I know there's a lot of comic books out there, and I know they're trying to capitalize, on this, monetary gain from not just the movies and the box office returns, but the TV shows as well. That allows them to make even more money than they already had been. So, with that in mind, the fact that Feige is looking at this at a more creative aspect than a financial aspect, that's again music to my ears. Just like him saying that Deadpool is going to be rated R.
Mhm.
Um, as long as he does not get rid of the Daredevil reboot, I'm okay with fewer shows.
Yeah.
I know that Secret Invasion is finished and it's just waiting on a release date. They're probably because at this point, like with the old formula, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was going to come out a few weeks after Quantum Mania, which would
I
put it
somewhere along the line, I don't remember where, I heard it was coming out in January at some
the
point, and
the
and now we don't even know when it's coming out.
so the date I was always hearing was March. And the
March?
reason, yeah, and the reason why they're not saying it's coming out in March, and the reason why I don't think it's coming out in March, I'll give you one word: Mandalorian. Marvel Studios does not want to basically overshadow the Mandalorian in any way, just because that is Disney Plus's most popular property, no questions asked. So
I could see that.
Secret Invasion, if it came out the same day as Mandalorian, it stood absolutely no chance in hell. So, and I'm excited to watch Secret Invasion.
Me too, man.
So like, but if there's new Mandalorian stuff out there, I gotta watch that. Like, no disrespect,
That's true.
Mandalorian has to be my number one. But I mean,
I do think there is a way that they could coexist, because it's not really like how television used to be, where it's like time slots and it's like, oh, this is on at 8:30, but so is this. I have to pick and
exactly.
choose. Anyone can watch The Mandalorian. Anyone can watch Secret Invasion anytime that they wanted to. I honestly,
Mm-hmm.
my theory, I think it's coming out later. I think it's coming out closer to summer, because Kevin
Yeah.
Feige has said that it's basically a direct sequel to Captain Marvel, or like leads directly off of Captain Marvel, and the Marvels comes out in July. So I wonder if it's
Oh, you're right.
springboard into the Marvels, and I wonder if they want to release it closer to the Marvels, almost being like a prequel, and then sending you into the Marvels. I don't know.
But if it's coming out after the Marvels, then that would kind of mean that if it was meant
Before
to
the
be
Marvels. It would be
before the
before the
Marvels,
Marvels. Yeah,
okay. So
Marvels comes out in July.
if it's set before the Marvels, then I would think that they would put Secret Invasion out there maybe in June, where the low key season 2 slot was
Yeah,
going to be, and then they put low key season 2. I don't know, maybe in the fall, maybe going into Thanksgiving time.
or
Like,
even May. I could see them putting it in May.
you think they put out low key season 2
No,
earlier?
sorry, Secret Invasion in May.
Well, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to be raking in all the cash too, so they don't want to take all the focus away.
That's a
I
little
don't
bit
know.
different though, because it's in theaters, and that would just be on Disney Plus. They could
Yeah,
they could
yeah.
promote each other.
I mean,
It's
I'm expecting
possible.
to love Guardians 3. I'm expecting to go to the theater a few times to see that thing just because that's always been my favorite MCU property. But I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I'm just waiting to see the release dates at this point. I'm waiting to see an updated slate. I know Feige has a lot of plan. I know he's backing up this Agatha Coven of Chaos show, which I'm not fully into the idea of an Agatha Harkness show. I'm more interested in seeing a Scarlet Witch solo movie that's been rumored for years and years and years. You know, I'm waiting to hear him say, "Oh, Doctor Strange 3 and Shang-Chi 2 are in the works," you know? Just things like that. I'm just waiting to see an updated, bigger picture to really like formulate, you know, okay, this is what I'm so excited for. This is my most anticipated of the year and whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with lesser shows if that means, you know, the content is going to be of a better quality and not of a She-Hulk quality, you know?
Yeah, that's the hope. And like I said, I don't think this is a coincidence. The fact that Bob Chapek's now out and Bob Iger's back in, putting the creatives back in control, I do not think it's a coincidence that now we're hearing Feige say, we're going to space them out. We're going to put out fewer.
No.
Again, just speculation, but that's just what I think. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of Marvel having fewer shows coming out in the near future? Does that excite you? Does that make you get a little bit a sigh of relief like us? Or are you bummed? Are you like, I want a Marvel show every week? Why? Comment down below.
Oh, you guys thought that you would be burned out there? Oh.
And let's take a look at what you guys are saying.